positioning.
Who says Formula One is a gentleman's sport? From drivers beating up each other to race marshals getting punched by frustrated drivers, Formula One has seen it all. So here are 10 times Formula One got extremely heated. Now what happened at the 1982 Canadian Grand Prix will leave you speechless. But before we talk about that, let's kick things off with a memorable showdown in the cool-down room at the 2016 Chinese Grand Prix. This race was a big deal for Danny Kvyat, who snagged his second ever F1 podium by finishing third, even though he started in 6th place. Kvyat was all smiles, feeling like a hero after rocketing up to third with a daring move on the inside at turn 1. But not everyone shared his joy, especially not Sebastian Vettel. Vettel had his reasons. During the race, Kvyat's bold manoeuvre almost sent Vettel's race plan spinning into chaos.
Yeah, I made contact, I had no chance to avoid, I had the Red Bull coming on the inside like a madman, and I hit.
Although Vettel managed to finish in 2nd place and secure a spot on the podium, the incident left him fuming.
You asking what happened at the start. If I don't go to the left, you crash into us and we all three go out.
Well, I was...
No, not well. You came like a torpedo.
Well, it's racing.
I'm racing, but you know, if I keep going the same line, you crash.
Don't keep going.
Yeah, but there was a car on the left also.
Well,
that's why I hit the other car.
I can see all the 3 cars, man. Go on. I have only 2 eyes.
Well, you need
2 cars.
You will crash if you do like that.
But we didn't. So.
Yeah, you didn't.
But hey, at least these two were on different teams. Rivalry and friction are part of the game. But what happens when the tension is between teammates? That happened at the 2015 United States Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. Lewis Hamilton clinched his 3rd World Championship, but instead of popping champagne with teammate Nico Rosberg, the atmosphere in the cool-down room was frosty. Rosberg's frustration was understandable. His title hopes had just been dashed by his own teammate. No words were needed. That cap toss said it all. There was a time when Michael Schumacher and Damon Hill just couldn't stay out of each other's way. Their on-track rivalry hit new heights in 1993 with collisions in Adelaide and Silverstone. They traded paint in Belgium, earning Schumacher suspended 1 race ban. And just when you thought they'd learned their lesson, they clashed again at the 1994 Monza GP while ducking it out for 2nd place.
Oh, and Hill hits Schumacher, they both go off!
Schumacher wasted no time sprinting over to Hill to give him a piece of his mind.
Schumacher running up to the Williams. Now is he going to have words with Damon Hill? Damon Hill in the car and Schumacher shaking his head.
Even after the race, Schumacher's fury was still revving high.
It's not the first time, it's the 2nd time now. I'm in front of Damon and he took away the possibility for me to extend the lead.
And it's not just the drivers who lose their cool. The team principals can go from 0 to furious in no time flat. Mercedes came into the season riding high on a wave of 8 consecutive constructors' titles. But when the new design regulations hit, their car, the W13, turned into a bouncing nightmare. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton got out of his car at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix looking like he'd just survived a ride on a mechanical ball. The bouncing was that bad. Team boss Toto Wolff was furious about this. By the time the Canadian Grand Prix rolled around a week later, Wolff was ready to rally for change. In a fiery meeting with other team principals, he demanded action to protect the drivers from the bouncy castle effect. But Red Bull's Christian Horner and Ferrari's Matteo Binotto weren't having it, so they fired back at Wolff, turning the meeting into a verbal boxing match.
I can tell you that all of you are playing a dangerous game. If a car ends in the wall because it's too stiff or it's bottoming out, you're in the shit and I'm gonna come after you. Because we are removing the stiff. Wait a second, I'm talking.
Hang on, are we playing to the cameras here? Or I think this is probably better off camera than...
No, I don't care.
Change your f***ing car.
Then you change your car because Checo has been saying the car.
And we can all remember Toto's peak rage at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The next rage incident sets the gold standard for driver bust-ups. Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna epitomise what racing was all about in the 1980s and early 90s. These two went head-to-head so often that fans were always on the edge of their seat, and 1987 was no exception. The Belgian Grand Prix that year was, to put it mildly, a roller coaster. Mansell snagged pole position, and after a restart, he gunned for the top spot. But who should he find in his way? None other than his old rival Senna leading the pack. But hold on to your helmets, things were about to get spicy.
Outside line, and Senna's in trouble, and he's taken them both off. Senna was on the slippery stuff on the...
This crash caused a double retirement, and a furious Mansell stormed down to Senna's pit garage later. The Brit unleashed a tirade of insults and even threw a few punches. Unfortunately, the cameras missed the action. We never got to see if Mansell had a future in boxing. The 1998 F1 Belgium GP was chaotic, slippery and a bit dangerous. More than half the cars crashed out of the race thanks to a massive downpour. Michael Schumacher though was handling it like a pro and had a huge lead. That is, until his run-in with David Coulthard happened.
Falling conditions. Oh God! Michael Schumacher hits David Coulthard and is out of the Belgian Grand Prix.
That was a devastating crash. After the crash, both drivers made their way back to the pits, but Schumacher was in no mood for a friendly chat. He stormed over to McLaren's garage, looking like he was ready to teach Coulthard some boxing moves.
I knew he was angry, you know, his neck.
Thankfully, a crowd of Ferrari and McLaren team members intervened, otherwise Schumacher might have shown Coulthard how to drive his fists. Now, the worst thing that can happen to an F1 driver is crashing during a race. It's incredibly frustrating, and sometimes race marshals end up on the receiving end of that frustration. Just ask the marshal at the 1975 Monaco Grand Prix. After Patrick Depailler shoved James Hunt into the barriers, Hunt was fuming. Determined to give Depailler a piece of his mind, he waited for Hunt's car to come round again. But the marshal was having none of it, too focused on his job to let Hunt vent his anger. Now, you'd think Hunt might have learned his lesson about venting on marshals, but no. Fast forward 2 years to the Canadian Grand Prix at Mosport, Hunt collided with his McLaren teammate Jochen Mass and was out of the race. Good old Ernie Strong, the marshal, came to help Hunt out of his car, only to wish he hadn't.
Fameux clochette du droit pour Monsieur James Hunt. Incroyable, il est à l'attention.
This time though, Hunt did apologise for his outburst, so while he had a bit of a hot temper, at least he knew when to say sorry. Now, from the moment Max Verstappen burst onto the F1 scene, it was clear he brought a mix of fiery passion and a no-nonsense attitude to the track. Fast forward to 2018, and those qualities were on full display. Verstappen, leading the race, found himself tangled up with Esteban Ocon, who, despite being a lap down, decided to pull a bold move on Max at turn 1. Predictably, it ended in a collision.
Van Ocon.
I think when you're a lap behind, you should not be attacking the leader into the apex of turn 2.
Ocon's on super soft tyres. If he's got the pace...
Max was not amused. Actually, that's an understatement. He was furious.
What an idiot! What an idiot!
But it didn't end there. After the race, Verstappen stormed over to Ocon, ready to throw more than just a few choice words. Max wanted a full-on pit lane showdown. The FIA was not impressed with Verstappen's WWE-style pit lane performance and slapped him with a 2-day public service penalty. At least Max Verstappen waited until the end of the race to throw down, but back in 1982, Nelson Piquet and Eliseo Salazar couldn't even wait to leave the track before their fists and feet started flying. This happened at the 1982 German Grand Prix. Piquet had been tailing Salazar for a few laps, itching for a chance to overtake. He finally found his moment at the Hockenheim chicane. Smooth move, right? Well, not for long. Salazar botched it spectacularly.
And in 5th place, Michele Alboreto, 6 seconds behind Rosberg in 7th place. in 6th position, and out goes Piquet.
Next thing you know, we've got a full-blown trackside brawl that could have made the WWE proud.
The Colombian driver, I couldn't help it, said, and take that. Oh my goodness. Well, Nelson Piquet, understandably.
It could have been an even crazier outburst if Salazar had decided to return the favour. Who knew F1 drivers could throw punches as well as they throw their cars into corners? Unlike Salazar, Raul Boesel didn't exactly keep his cool when Chico Serra went on to the attack.
Treinos, uma confusão sem precedentes entre os brasileiros Chico Serra e Raul Boesel.
Thank goodness they were eventually pulled apart. So what sparked this trackside chaos? Serra was on his final flying lap, pushing hard to improve his grid position, when Boesel decided to play blocker. As a result, Serra couldn't advance, while Boesel comfortably qualified in 18th place. Furious, Serra confronted Boesel, leading to a good old-fashioned fistfight. It's safe to say that no one saw that grid battle coming. Well, what other rage-fueled moments would you add to this list? Let us know in the comment section down below.